Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at another one of the move updates from the Season 22 balance patch, and that is Sucker Punch being given to Bellibolt. Bellibolt is a pure electric type that prior to this ran entirely electric moves: Thundershock, Parabolic Charge, and Zap Cannon. But now with Sucker Punch, it is given for the first time a little bit of coverage. So today I'm going to be testing it out in the Ultra League with a Serperior and a Lapras to see if it is going to be worth using for this season. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at the team in action. And we're off to a tough start in game number 1, Serperior into Shadow Galarian Weezing. The safe switch into the Lapras, Weezing gonna stay in this matchup, firing up 6 Fairy Winds and a Sludge before looking to pivot out. We now are going to see the pivot into Credilli, and baiting out Credilli is genuinely incredible right here. Ice Beam is going to hit for super effective damage. Lapras, my Lapras is a pretty poor IV, but I can still withstand a Rock Tomb here if that's what my opponent goes for. So I can tank the Rock Tomb, make it to a second super effective Ice Beam, hoping they shield, but unfortunately my opponent plays it smart, and they end up letting it go and taking the farm. This is bad because I'm actually ABA weak to Shadow Galarian Weezing. For the first 2 games that I ran with this team, I actually had Talonflame in the lead, and Credilli was just unplayable, so I ditched the Talonflame for Serperior, and the Serperior version worked out way better, even though it does leave me ABA weak to the aforementioned Galarian Weezing. Here, I'm going to lose the CMP tie with the Bellibolt, going for the Parabolic Charge, and the 2/3 chance of a defense boost comes through. That's very nice. Opponent is going to switch out into a Lapras, because they realize Lapras is not going to have play in the remainder of this game. I now get to refarm up a ton of energy with the Bellibolt, the switch to Serperior, hoping against hope that I caught a Sparkling Aria, and I did. That is such an important catch. Continuing the farm with Serperior. Serperior will survive an Ice Beam here. It's going to hit for a ton of damage though. My opponent's actually on Skull Bash instead, and now I'm going to farm up to where I have an Aerial Ace plus a Frenzy Plant. Aerial Ace will KO, and now I have a Parabolic Charge loaded and a Frenzy Plant, which means this game is over. Frenzy Plant KOs the Galarian Weezing, and we're able to clutch a Game 1 win. Great lead in the next match, Serperior into Shadow Hippowdon, but it's an Ice Fang Hippowdon, and so that is not nearly as good of a lead. I'm going to bring in Lapras, opponent going to respond with Malamar, and Malamar is of course going to be a pretty awkward Pokemon for Lapras to face since Psywave is triple resisted here. However, this is honestly not the end of the world for Lapras, surprisingly, because one superpower will not KO. So if they want to pick up a knockout, they have to foul play and they have to debuff themselves with a superpower, and that can set up some very nice farm for Serperior. Here my opponent does have a little bit of a miscount there, and I'm able to get one final Sparkling Aria, and that is going to grab me a shield advantage. So that works out quite nicely. My opponent gave a pretty big energy head start to the Lapras, and Lapras is able to punish that. We are now going to see a pivot back into Hippowdon. Realistically, even though I have Sucker Punch on the Bellibolt, I don't really want to bring Bellibolt into a ground type that's this healthy, as of course my charge attacks couldn't do much here. So what I am going to do is just stay in with the Serperior. I am finally going to use a shield just to guarantee that I can get rid of this Hippowdon, and it's going to be Bellibolt versus the world in this endgame. So Serperior, Frenzy Plant is going to pick up the knockout. In the back is Virizion. There's a switch into Malamar, and as long as I bank the Aerial Ace, this game will be a win. So they will go for the superpower. I get to bank it, Sucker Punch down with the Bellibolt, and now this poor Virizion is going to be in for a very difficult time. I get to fire off the Parabolic Charge, 2/3 chance of a defense boost, and now this Bellibolt is going to be extremely difficult to remove from the field of play. They go for a Sacred Sword. That just does nothing to the Bellibolt. Oh my goodness. They're firing off charge attack number 2, another Sacred Sword, and another very comfortable survive from Bellibolt. This next Parabolic Charge should put them into Aerial Ace range, so I can switch into Serperior with the combo play, double super effective damage, Serperior knocks out Virizion, and that's a good game. Picking up a slightly negative lead in the next match, Serperior against Zygarde. Zygarde does typically win this matchup just by outbulking Serperior, but it's genuinely not terrible for Serperior either way. I will probably look to switch out of this matchup eventually though. The Zygarde throws instantly. A lot of Zygarde players throw on alignment just without any care to charge attack timing, so my plan here is I'm going to throw 6 Vine Whips, switch into Lapras, and get the easiest catch ever of their crunch. And that's just going to be doing nothing to the Lapras. Opponent now sends out a Rangaroo. That is not a Pokemon I was expecting to see. Unfortunately, a difficult Pokemon for Lapras to deal with due to the fact that Rangaroo, being a Psychic type, is going to be resisting Psywave. Rangaroo does have access to super effective Trail Blaze. Trail Blaze is going to connect. Switch Clock not available for the Lapras, so I am forced to fire off another Sparkling Aria just to burn the timer. And now I can look to switch into Serperior and go for a Snipe. Firing off this Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant is going to be shielded. The opponent is going to lose CMP to XL Serperior. Serperior firing off the Frenzy. We get both shields from the opponent. And both shields, I'm absolutely letting Serperior go. They did go for a Trailblaze as well, so now they are double boosted. I'm going to wait down the timer as much as I can, and Bellibolt hits the field. Sucker Punch hitting for super effective damage. I'm going to be shielding because obviously I don't know what they have in the back, and I know that keeping health will be good considering there's going to be a Zygarde. Zygarde farming up a ton of energy. Bellibolt, one final catch for the road. Bellibolt has now gotten them into a dangerously low health range. In the back is a Tentacruel, and that's going to be a win. Sucker Punch paying off for the Bellibolt in this matchup, as previously Bellibolt could never do anything against the Zygarde. But now, at the very least, it has neutral fast move pressure. Not a lot of fast move pressure, but enough to make a Zygarde player, a Dragon Ground type, concede the match to a Mono Electric. Hopping into the next match, and unfortunately our nemesis Galarian Weezing has returned. I'm just going to save switch into the Lapras because this was the winning strategy last time. My opponent is going to bank a ton of energy and send out for Alligator. This is really not great. I would so much rather my opponent throw the energy on the Weezing and then bring in the Feraligatr because I'm not running Skull Bash, so my energy is going to be walled here. Feraligatr, this is honestly just going to be a lot of resisted charge attacks thrown back and forth. Feraligatr going for yet another Hydro Cannon, and I am at the back-to-back Sparkling Arias. I don't want to throw it instantly though. I do want to try and maximize the amount of energy that I can get, so I will overfarm and fire off this energy to pick up the knockout onto Feraligatr. Feraligatr is going to get KO'd. In the back is Golisopod, and this is going to be a problem. I'm going to send out Serperior because Serperior just doesn't really have a lot of value into my opponent's team. They're going to go for the X-Scissor. Now they're going to send out Galarian Weezing as I fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is a little bit of chip damage, but not much. And they have back-to-back, so I can't afford to shield, because if I shield, I have to double shield, because Serperior is not going to win the CMP tie against Galarian Weezing. I send in Bellibolt, but we're going to be in for a very difficult endgame because Weezing is just so good into this team. I was able to fix the Credilli issue by putting Serperior on the lead, but then that makes Weezing very difficult. Weezing going to fire off the Sludge. For Bellibolt, I'm going to overfarm and then go for the Parabolic Charge, hoping against hope that this will give me the defense boost. Parabolic Charge does get the boost, and Golisopod hits the field. Golisopod going to be firing off its energy, going for the X-Scissor there. Aqua Jet does do more, so either my opponent, maybe I guess they're not running Aqua Jet, which would be a bit of a surprise. I know people are having difficulty in terms of obtaining charge TMs, but this is going to be a very close finish. X-Scissor is going to land. It looks like the next one may not knock out. It's going to be very close. If I can get to a last second move here, I can win, but I can't. And now it's up to Lapras. Lapras, one Psywave off the back-to-back. I just need them to not have the move banked, but they do, and a half second is the difference between victory and defeat. We escaped one Weezing lead, but unfortunately we lose to the second. Serperior into Shadow Zapdos. Oh my goodness. Tough day on the lead for Serperior. I'm going to farm up, try and go for a Drill Peck catch, but unfortunately I am unsuccessful. Lapras hits the field. I'm very far behind on energy. I will commit the shield as they go for the Thunderbolt. They are glassy enough that even a Sparkling Aria will threaten. I don't even have to build up to an Ice Beam. I'm still going to be able to get a shield. My thinking here with banking all the energy on Serperior is a lot of the times, something like a Zapdos will be really weak to grass in the back. Now I'm going to send out Bellibolt. Opponent is going to pivot. There is a Shadow Primeape, and that's a very terrifying Pokemon. I'm expecting they're just going to full send, so I will commit the shield. Now I'm going to throw 2 and then go for the parabolic charge. If they shield, they're getting combo played, so they're just going to choose to let that go, but they weren't able to burn a lot of time on the switch clock. So whatever they bring in, they're still going to be switch locked, and I can take advantage of that. I get to bank energy on Bellibolt, send in Superior into the Lapras, Frenzy Plant into the Lapras, massive damage, switch timer's up, and Zapdos rehits the field. Zapdos Drill Peck, massive damage, but Superior is able to hang on. That will not be enough to knock out. Superior going for the Aerial Ace. That's going to pick up the KO. In comes Lapras, and I make it to an Aerial Ace. This will allow me to burn the switch clock. Opponent no shields, realizing that it's just an Aerial Ace, and now this is going to be a test of the bulk of Bellibolt. They should be able to get to the back-to-back Sparkling Arias. Can Bellibolt hang on? Bellibolt withstands both charge attacks, and we're able to take the win. Awkward lead in the next match, Superior against Golisopod. I would rather have it aligned against either one of the back Pokemon, so I'm going to try for a catch, save switch into Lapras, out comes a Registeel, and I am immediately in shambles. This is so bad. I was actually looking at Melmetal of all things, for a very similar reason to why I imagine a lot of people are running Registeel, because one of the new, as I get Zap Cannon debuff, which just makes the bad situation worse, but one of the new best cores is Credilli plus Galarian Weezing, and that core works because there's not a lot of viable steel types, but with Pokemon like Registeel or Melmetal, you could potentially catch those cores off guard, and here I am, caught very off guard by Registeel, and the fact that they got that 30% chance at a debuff as well, very unfortunate. Focus Blast is going to knock out. I can throw 5, and this will be a CMP tie because my opponent threw at 100. I need this to knock out to have a chance in this game, but it just doesn't. It could have knocked out if my Lapras wasn't debuffed earlier because it could have had more damage, but now I send in Bellibolt. It's Florges in the back, Sucker Punch. I'm just not winning that endgame, so I will concede the match. Superior against Shadow Steelix. Superior finally catching a good lead. This is a great spot to be in. The fact that they're staying in is amazing. Frenzy Plant, huge damage. They're going to save switch into Golisopod. Golisopod, I'm very comfortable firing off an Aerial Ace to get some chip damage, sending in the Lapras, and just using Lapras as a damage sponge. I've given them a big energy head start, but Lapras just does great at neutralizing multiple X-Scissors from the Golisopod. Golisopod X-Scissor is going to connect, and they're going for X-Scissor number 2. That's very fine by me. I'm just going to look to fire off this Sparkling Aria right before they get their next move. So after a couple more Psy Waves, Sparkling Aria is resisted, but the Psy Waves have added up enough to pick up the KO. In comes Shadow Steelix. This Sparkling Aria should grab the first shield of the match from my opponent. They're going to get a massive farm down, but Steelix is just so helpless against Superior. The best they can throw here is going to be a Psychic Fangs, and look at how little damage this does. Superior tanks that like it's nothing. In the back is a Shadow Dusknoir, and oh my goodness, Sucker Punch hitting for super effective here. This is quite nice. I'm going to shield up the Shadow Punch because I want to try and fish for the Parabolic Charge boost. Of course, it's a 66% chance to buff up my defense by 1 stage. Parabolic Charge, no boost comes through. That's unfortunate. But look at the Sucker Punch damage. This Dusknoir has been absolutely deleted. Dusknoir gets the farm down on very low HP. In comes the Steelix, and it's immediately going to get met with the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant into the Steelix, plus a Vine Whip picks up the KO. All that's left is 1 HP on the Shadow Dusknoir, and the opponent will resign the match. Hopping into the final match, oh, we've got a Dream Lead, Superior into a Feraligatr, but I don't have an amazing response to a Drapion safe swap. They're looking to overfarm here, potentially predicting a catch out of here, but what I'm going to do is just land a Frenzy Plant, and that will very comfortably put it into Sparkling Aria range. I do know that Lapras, I can't remember which shielding scenario that it wins, but it does have the ability to win certain evens against Shadow Drapion. I would have to look that up, because I looked it up at some point, but unfortunately I did not commit that one to memory. And now, I don't really need Switch, so if my opponent really wants to fight for it, I'm fine letting it go in exchange for farm on Bellibolt, but they end up just giving up Swap. In comes Feraligatr. I'm just going to bank the energy and send in Bellibolt. Bellibolt, very comfortable taking a Hydro Cannon. Bellibolt is very, very bulky. In the back is Shadow Typhlosion, and I'd love the Parabolic Charge boost. If I get the defense buff, they can't farm me down before I make another move, and I get it. That is massive. I could have survived even one more Incinerate after this, so that forces my opponent's hand. They Blast Burn to guarantee the knockout, but I can send back in the Lapras. Lapras can make 2 if I can survive the Incinerate, but even if I can't, I have 2 shields and a Superior, which means this game should be a win. Because Superior, with all the shields in the world to hide behind, is going to do very well here. Throwing 4 in the move makes sure that the second Incinerate will not register. Frenzy Plant picks up the KO, and Feraligatr is getting removed from the field immediately by a Frenzy Plant. So things got a little bit scary there, but thanks to a Parabolic Charge buff from Bellibolt, we're able to take home victory. Alright, and now some final thoughts on Bellibolt and its new fast move of Sucker Punch. To start with, I am a bit biased in this review because Bellibolt, it's one of my favorite Pokemon. I think the design is hilarious, and even with the mono electric moves, I was able to have some pretty nice success with it in previous iterations of the Ultra League. And in those previous Ultra League iterations, when I featured it, I specifically wanted coverage moves, and this is the first coverage move. I was more envisioning a charge move coverage move, but Sucker Punch does make things a little bit interesting. Sucker Punch as a whole is going to make Bellibolt worse in situations where Dark is resisted, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like in those matchups against Galarian Weezing, if I had Thunder Shock, I would at least hit for neutral damage, whereas the Sucker Punches were resisted. But it does allow Bellibolt to compete in a very new way. Like previously, Bellibolt into Giratina was going to be basically just an instantly lost cause, but now with Sucker Punch at the very least, you have a Dark type clone of what Counter used to be before it got nerfed, so even though you don't have same type attack bonus, you're still able to have fast move pressure there. Same with the Zygarde matchup, where the Zygarde matchup, it's not going to be a win because you have no charge attack pressure, but if you can kind of get it low with your other Pokemon, then you actually have an ability to potentially get the Pokemon low and finish it off with the Bellibolt, which previously you weren't ever able to do. So I don't know if this is the most perfect team for it, but I do think that it is playable. It's definitely not a meta Pokemon by any means, but I think with skillful play and careful team building, it's something that if Bellibolt is a Pokemon you really like and you want to make work, you will probably be able to do so. And this little bit of extra coverage, especially as you climb higher and run into more Pokemon like Zygarde that are very tough for these electric types to deal with, that Sucker Punch can be a bit of a plus. You'll just have to make sure that with your team you end up covering for Galarian Weezing a little bit better than I did, because Galarian Weezing and in that one battle Florges proved to be a little difficult for Sucker Punch Bellibolt to handle. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.